Hello and greetings. Welcome to earGROUND New Voices Amplified. And today I'm not speaking to new voices, I'm speaking to iconic, legendary voices. And it's such a beautiful honor to actually have two icons in one space. I'm going to be speaking to a piece of Ebony. I know a lot of AMA 2000, you may not really recollect, but if you're talking about hip hop in Zimbabwe, there's no way you ever mention hip hop in Zimbabwe, in Africa, without mentioning a piece of Ebony. And I have the elder Tony Chihota alongside Metaphysics. Welcome to earGROUND.
Yeah.
Thanks
for having us, Plot.
Great. You guys have been in the game for 3 years, 3 decades. Almost my entire life, you guys have been making music, and you're still making music. How do you recollect your early days?
Yeah, so we came up in the 90s, early 90s, 92 to be exact. Hip hop was going through a big transformation internationally, through worldwide, with there was a time of Afrocentricity, the era of Afrocentricity in hip hop, where, American rappers were also starting to try to connect with their African roots. You had Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation, you had Tribe Called Quest, Public Enemy, now starting to try and reconnect with their African roots. And that's the time when Herb and I met in college. We were both, aspiring rappers. Well, Herb had done some stuff, with the Lethal Language, a band which, had very good resonance in the States. I had been working as an MC with my mentor, Hitman, Hosea Singende. And we met, yeah, definitely, yeah, man. I just come back from Russia, where I'd been for 5 years. I'm half Russian. So I was trying to find a school here, and we went to Costa College, went to enroll into there. And that's when I met Herb on the day of registration. And we were just in a queue. We started rapping, and before you know it, we had a big crowd around us. And from the get-go, from the first minute, that was it. Piece of Ebony was in formation. You know what I mean? We went on to hook up with Keith Farquharson, who was a legendary producer, keyboard player from Ilanga. He started off with the groups like Ilanga with Andy Brown, late Andy Brown, and Don Gumbo, Busi Nube and them. So he had already come from that, era. I guess he was trying to look for something new. And yeah, we were it. So from there, we started recording the Piece of Ebony album. And then we had that beautiful moment of meeting up with Chioniso Maraire, the late great as well. And, she came in, we were already rapping about Africa because we didn't obviously want to emulate, too much on the American side. So at the time, a lot of the MCs from Africa were trying to do that, So yeah, we were with our African style, and then boom, it was ordained. Chioniso, pitches up with her Mbira influence, and her sweet, angelic voice. And that is when we really, really, found that the total package, you know what I'm saying? And from there we released, and it just blew up, and people had just never heard anything like Mbira on rap or anything like that. So yeah, the Piece of Ebony was born, and that's the legacy that, we are now about to celebrate.
Great. And Meta, how do you feel when you look back at that legacy?
For me, it's just a great surprise to actually see that we have outlived our lifespan in hip hop, and we're still current and relevant. For me, that is a huge achievement to be still using the name A Piece of Ebony 30 years later and still doing this. I mean, there's very, very few rappers from our generation when we started who are actually still current, still writing rhymes, still producing. We are one of the last from that generation that is actually still active. I mean, there are still a few guys like Doomy and Zim Legit who still sporadically drop, some music, but the rest of the guys from our generation just don't exist. So that longevity for me is just, something that I'm personally proud of, man. That, wow, who would ever have imagined that we'd be having this discussion 30 years later?
Wow, great. 30 years later, but when I look at a video like Buka, the visuals, the different elements, the melody, and how rooted that was. And this was an era where we had the Arrested Development and a whole lot of other, American artists also trying to really reconnect. But you guys were deep in the roots. And you look at hip hop today in Zimbabwe. What sort of feeling do you have? Do you get a sense of hip hop has progressed? Are you happy with the current dynamics, especially in Zimbabwe, in terms of originality, authenticity, and just the content and context?
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? Like we always say, the world is ready. You know what I mean? Just it's just a whole mixed bag now. The whole world is in on it. People are recording in their studios. Like we got a track on the studio. Herb was in Germany. War Games was in London. I was here in Zimbabwe, and that's where music is going right now. You know what I mean? It's hard to say that it's Zimbabwean anymore because cats are all over the place. And globally, you got Japanese rappers doing that. So it's just really a mix, tutti frutti thing right now. And
yesterday we were with Baba Maraire, for example,
yeah,
and he was mentioning I think like Rhyme Fest and MF Doom. These are Zimbabwean hip hop icons that aren't even celebrated. So Zimbabwe has always been at the forefront of hip hop. And it's, right now, let the young generation do what they do. But Zimbabwe has always been part of hip hop culture in one form or another. So I think we've always, just gravitated towards whatever's hip, whatever's current. Zimbabweans don't like to get left behind. And you see it. I mean, right now, I was very surprised. I went to get some movies with Tony at the post office because you can buy a whole collection of films on USB and pirated movies. I've literally just watched The Matrix bootleg. But while I was there, I was just looking at these kids with tattoos on their faces, the fashion, the image. Like, I don't know how many Wiz Khalifa t-shirts I've walked past. I don't know. For a moment I had to whoa, where am I? Is this downtown?
Go to Zimex Mall. There's about 5 Lil Wayne lookalike dudes, man. Tattoos, crosses on
everything.
Yeah, it's all part of hip hop, But yeah, man, I've always been a big advocate of including the fusion, the Mbira sound and the African chanting, the ululating, which we're putting into the new EP and all that, so into our music. So I would personally love to see Zimbabweans do more of that, so we can get really our signature sound out there. We've got so much depth in our own Zimbabwean, customs and traditional music. So I would like to see that, basically in the kids. You know what I mean? But to each his own, and let's see what they come up with. Basically, let them do them.
Great. And 30 years on, you guys, what brought you back together to actually work on a project?
It's been a long time coming. We always talked about it, you know what I mean? We always talked about it, but I guess, it was not ordained. It was not written, we always, Herb has been away. I was away in Europe for a while, then I came back, But, with the coming, as the 30th year anniversary started getting closer, I think, we started getting a bit nostalgic. Herb started posting, a few one or two historic posts about that time, how we were in Joburg and all that. And for me, it was a time when I was in rehabilitation basically for alcohol addiction, just basic addiction and trying to turn my life around. Because I was deep in the cut. I was down for a while. That's probably why, people hadn't heard from me for a second. So I was basically in rehab, and, one of the kind of requirements, I don't know, exercises that you do in rehab is write down your thoughts, if you're angry with this, write it down, try and figure out what triggers you and, stuff, why you do what you do. So I started writing as part of that, and then it gradually just turned once I started, because I was looking at this blank page and, thinking, well, what do I write? I mean, I'm supposed to write about who pisses me off. I mean, I'm not angry with anybody that much for me to actually sit down and write about this person. So anyway, for about 3 weeks, I was just staring at this thing, this blank piece of paper. And I thought, yeah, let me start with the beginning. So I started with my father, and, during the Pan-African liberation struggle, in Tanzania. I was born in Tanzania. We went exiled there, and he went to Russia, and, met my mom, and came back. So I started from there. And once I started that, it just, before I knew it, I had written a book. I was writing a book, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, now it became, when it got to A Piece of Ebony, it became, the book became like this true story, the biography of A Piece of Ebony, which a lot of people had tried to do in the past, but nobody ever told the real story of A Piece of Ebony. So once I started telling that story with the 30th year anniversary coming up, and I started talking to Herb, like, hey, this is it, this is what I'm doing. And, he got in on it, and, next thing, we're recording music, and we were like, dude, we have to do a tribute to Chioniso, our lovely, sister, you know what I'm saying? So it all just became this whole big thing about the anniversary, and here we are, Herb now is here, we finally reunited, we're working together, and that magic is there. Chioniso spirit is shining down on it, and man, it's just, it's time.
That is deep. And what does your book unpack? You just dropped that book recently.
Yeah, we don't want to give too much of it away, but hey, man, it's a roller coaster ride. Mm-hmm. It's a roller coaster. It's already on Amazon. I'm, word of mouth. People have been, reading it. The actual launch is on the 30th of this month.
Great.
Finally we're doing the launch. It's going to be at First Floor Gallery, Karigamombe Center. Yeah. Big up to First Floor Gallery, Valerie and Marcus, Gora. Piece of Ebony is going to be performing, the new stuff, snippets of that as well. It's going to be a cool launch. First hip hop autobiography from Zimbabwe. You know what I mean?
This is mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah,
our generation has not had the habit of writing and documenting, and a lot of things are lost in hearsay. Last week, there was a conversation, somebody saying, hip hop in Zimbabwe started in the 90s, late 90s and stuff. And then it sparked a lot of debate. And I was like, this is because a lot of the stuff is not there. So congratulations for putting that book together.
Yeah, another first for Piece of Ebony. Sorry?
Now I'm saying also another first for Zim. I'm yet to see any group artist who has written a biography of their own.
Right. So yeah, the book touches upon a lot of things, plot. It's eclectic, you know what I'm saying? Touches upon growing up in post-colonial, Zimbabwe in the 80s, the dynamics, the race dynamics of growing up as a kid, in a multiracial school, it goes through loss, pain and loss of, my father when I was young and how I dealt with that. Then I go overseas and I, basically become, schooled in a communist country. As the Soviet Union was crumbling, I was there. I was, becoming a teenager. I was becoming a man at that time. Yes. Come back and started become a hip hop artist, and boom, and this and that, and there's crime, there's humor, there's dark humor in it. There's addiction, there's redemption. Everything. Let me not. So yeah, it will take you through all the walks of life, in an entertaining way. So don't worry, it's not going to be morbid. It's actually quite funny.
That is great. You just dropped H-Town, which features also Beacon Cars. Beautiful track. And
thank you.
What was the creative process behind making of that track?
I think we just wanted to do something that's very patriotic and something that's very simple for people to grasp. We didn't want to come too hard initially. So we wanted to do just something that's lighthearted, that's fun, and something that might have potential to go viral within the smaller communities. So we started building our whole campaign on small demographics. We said, let's focus on the colored demographic, and then let's slowly move on to like the white demographic, do something for them, and then something more traditional and even the ghetto youth by going to Levels and Fantan at Chill Spot, so that we tap into all these little subgroups that exist within Zimbabwe. And once we get their attention, funnel everything back to one complete rounded community effort that represents Zimbabwe, and then slowly build that out into the diaspora, and then hopefully cross over to a broader audience. So strategically, it was just to start small and begin to scale up. So we try to do something that would just resonate with a particular community to start off with.
So does this paint a direction of where you are taking the project, that you're working on the album?
No, not at all. It's a poor reflection of the sum of the total, because like this particular project has a bit of everything. And that's why we have to be careful not to put all our eggs in one basket. So the launch strategy is to drop single by single and slowly get deeper and heavier as we scale up. But in the beginning, we just wanted to just start lighthearted. And then as people gravitate and begin to understand that Piece of Ebony is active again, we'll turn up the heat. It's like when you're cooking, you don't start with the fire on full blast. You're going to burn the food. So you gradually add ingredients, you gradually add the heat until you come to a proper stew. So that's the formula right there.
A pot puree.
Oh, pot puree. Nice. Pot puree. Nice. Wow. I was having a conversation. You say?
The plot puree.
Yes, a plot puree. That's a nice one. Makes a good title for an album. I was having a conversation some 4 or 5 months ago with Prudence Kaputomi and Mbofana, and we were talking about the film More Time. And you guys, you starred in it. You made music for the film More Time, and you also appeared at the end of the film.
Yes, that is true. And also those two that you just mentioned are also the first to read his book. They loved it.
Yeah, the first to write the book. Yeah,
Prudence really loved the book, and they said they were fighting to read the book, like
over breakfast.
Awesome.
Hey, I hope I don't, break up any happy homes. You know what I mean, with my book.
Awesome. Awesome.
No, they're great. They really loved it, and they promoted me, and you know what I mean. And we're working closely with Comfort as well. Yeah. Big up to Comfort Bofana. Big up to Prudence. You know what I mean. Great couple. And we're working on it. He's pushing the EP, the single H-Town for us on the radio, making sure that it gets out there. So H-Town, summertime classic. And it was fun working on More Time. We did pretty much the whole soundtrack of that movie,
Great.
Suddenly we work our local film stars to add to our...
What does that do to you guys? I can imagine like appearing in such a big film. For me, it's one of the best films that ever came from Zimbabwe. And then what did it mean to you as artists, as hip-hop? Hip-hop was still not mainstream.
Ooh. What does it mean now, or what did it mean then?
Then it was a big deal.
You were doing hip-hop, and hip-hop was not mainstream, but you were selected to be part of this project.
Yes. It was just another barrier that we managed to break. For as far as hip-hop in local hip-hop in Zimbabwe was concerned. Because like you said, Piece of Ebony, we were not the first rappers in Zim. There was rappers out there before us. You know what I mean? But we were the first to take it out there and break the barriers and actually get it, recognized mainstream, you know what I mean? Because before that, it was just American people that were appreciated on the radio. So with More Time, that just, took us a step further to say that hip hop can actually be an industry in Zimbabwe, you know what I mean? And
I hated the film. It was so funny and cheesy.
At the time, it was the thing, though. You know what I mean?
Made me That was like being on Mukadota Family. I was dreaming big, man. I used to watch Juice. I used to watch Beat Street. And then when Ours came out, I was like, What a local tragedy. And all about AIDS. And at that time, everything was about AIDS. I was at the school play doing AIDS plays, AIDS awareness, AIDS this,
AIDS
songs. Here you go now, write about an AIDS movie, and but it was fun. Shout out to the director, shout out to
John Reba
Media for Development Trust for putting that together. For me now, it's just so nice to look back at how everyone is kind of aged. It's also one of the very few and rare times that you almost have all of us on film at the same time. We got Keith, we got Chi, there's me, there was a cameo from Legwan Shaki in there. And for me, I really like that. It's the one time that like the whole of piece of Ebony in that sense is captured and engraved forever, you know what I mean? So yeah, looking back at it now, why not?
Wow, great, Ben. You know what humbles me is just the humility that you guys have, considering what you have done for the industry. There might not be so much enough credit that I think you deserve, but I salute you. You guys opened up for so many kids. A lot of people started to imagine and want to become artists because of what they've done. And you were doing this at a time when the dominant genres were not hip hop in Zimbabwe. It was still stereotyped in such a way. And now you've got an EP that's coming up soon. You're working on this EP. What are we expecting? What's there?
Yeah, so like we said, the EP is very eclectic. First of all, it's a big tribute to Chi, you know what I mean? Right. And we're so happy to be that we're about to do something with her daughter Chengeto, you know what I mean?
Awesome.
Represent to the fullest, So it's eclectic, very eclectic. Like we were saying, there's a lot of features. We got Djembe Monks featuring. We just done a beautiful track with Sulu Chimbetu.
Oh wow!
So that's gonna be the first Dendera hip hop tune. You know what I mean? Fusion. So yeah, that's on.
And Sulu's rapping.
Yeah, watch out. The man's got bars.
Sulu's rapping.
Wow. You had it first on earGROUND, Sulu on a hip hop track.
Oh, yeah. Rapping. So when we started putting this EP together, we started it off as a fundraiser, and we reached out to everybody, and there's been a lot of support with the fundraising. I'd like to say thank you to everybody who actually donated and put capital. But just now we got a phone call from a good friend of ours who's based in Ethiopia, and he's fully funded the project. He's taken on the full responsibility. So this album is actually funded from Ethiopia, man.
Prodigal Son, yeah, man, you go by the name of Prodigal Son. He's also an aspiring rap artist, very good. Yeah, man, big up to Prodigal Son.
So he wants to now open the channels to get us touring in Ethiopia, Kenya, Zanzibar, and all of that. So this is truly, firstly, a blessing, but also becoming a huge Pan-African project. And then meeting up with Baba Maraire and just discussing what's possible now in the future. He's also going to open up the channels to the US. He sees a lot of potential in what we are doing. And now we're just trying to, kind of map out where to take this whole thing. But shout out to everybody who's just been supporting, people like you, giving us the platform to tell our story. This is actually a community-based project. This wouldn't have happened without the help of the people. So just salute to everybody who's been.
Yeah, and BK and Kaz also featuring on H-Sound. You know what I mean? They do the superb, lovely, lovely job. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, let's do it, Zimbabwe.
Wow, super awesome, Zimbabwe. And you guys have traveled around the world. Meta, you're part of one of Europe's biggest bands, but you still continue to go back home. Tony, you're going back home. You're working with young artists. You're still representing the same.
Is that a question?
It's a question because I've seen a lot of people that have left home and made it, and they don't want much to do with Zimbabwe.
I mean, dude, right now with this whole COVID situation and what's going on in the world, it's the time to stay connected with family, friends, and right now nothing is guaranteed. And for me, just going back home into the roots is a very necessary process in order just to stay sane and healthy. You know what I mean? Right now, it's been, like you said, with Zerna Mannheim's, we haven't had proper work in 2 years. So rather than sitting around and moping, I'd rather go out and live life and just connect with my roots and, you know, do something like this. So for me, this has been a lot of fun. Like, he takes it a little bit more serious than I do. And I'm always teasing him and, you know, because for me, this is like, I don't have the weight of a Zerna Mannheim's. I don't have the weight of, this is for me, like referring back to my childhood. So I'm using, it's like going back and putting on your old school uniform just for fun, even though you know you're not going back to school. You've graduated, but right now I'm back to being a little boy and just having fun with the whole thing, you know. So.
Yeah, I'm serious about this. This is my big comeback, man. You know what I mean? I've been missing in action. People are even talking about, yeah, so the piece of ebony, and who's the other guy? I was the other guy. So yeah, man, it's a big comeback for me. I feel like I've let my people down for a while, you know, through the stuff that I was going through personally, and I feel it's time to give them my all, you know what I mean, and make up for lost time. You know? Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. It's been an honor. It's been legendary to just have you on the show. For somebody who's watching and is a big fan of your work and has been reading or hearing about you, what would you say to them? They're an aspiring or an upcoming or a new rapper in Zimbabwe. What would you say to them?
Yeah, man. Just do you. Yeah, man. Represent and don't be shy about where you're from. Put your African roots into it.
And it's $1,000 for feature with a piece of ebony.
Yeah.
So you young cats, if you want to feature, $1,000 right now. It just went up.
Yeah. Got that money. That money.
That money.
I'm kidding. We open to work with everybody. We love what the youth are doing right now. Like Tony said, Chengeto's coming through. We're working with a young producer. So, hey, man, it works both ways. We get inspired by the youth and we inspire them. So channels are open.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate, but it'll be sad if you go without. I don't know what you just leave us with a freestyle, even 30 seconds, just to see if that magic is still there, if that piece of ebony is still in there.
This is Capone's big comeback.
Yo, it's the chief. I don't wear briefs. I'm making that look like Alibaba plus the 40 thieves. Rhyme styles what? Swift as a guy. Rhyme styles murder. I need an alibi. Back in 92, they used to think that it was juju. Now in 22, they probably say it's jungle juju. I know you haters thinking that we should be departed 30 years in the game, and I'm just getting started. Fact of the matter, y'all still need us. Who else you know will bring it with the mbiras and marimbas and rap for the Zulus, the Shanas and Karangas, and speak to the ancestors through our village Nangas. African vibe so real that you can taste it. Piece of ebony will bring you back to the basics.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
That's how we do. Yeah, so the name of the EP is Pioneers, by the way. Pioneers.
Yeah, the working title. It could change. It could change because you had another name today. Eclectic. So working title is Pioneers. Eclectic Pioneers.
Eclectic Pioneers. Cool.
Wow.
Cool. Wow. Thank you so much, Elder Tony. Thank you so much, Meta. I really, really appreciate. And yeah, Meta, I hope to connect soon when you're back or when I'm that side. But
yeah, man. Yeah. And big up for the interview with Terry Mahati.
Thanks a lot for the hookup as well.
I want to ride in your bus. I saw the designs of the new bus with the solar panels.
Yes.
Branding, that's genius. You actually inspired me to put my studio in my car as well.
Awesome.
Backseat Studios.
Sometimes cool.
In the car as well. Oh yeah, we're just about to record my audio book in Backseat Studios in the back of his bus.
So, shout out to you for that, man.
Thanks a lot. We're actually redeveloping the eco-friendly bus, and I'm hoping by April, May, they should be hitting the road running.
Oh, fantastic. Can't wait to ride in it. Can't wait to do a proper interview with you in the bus.
Thanks
it's going to be fun, man.
Yeah, coming to the neighborhood near you.
Awesome, awesome. So wow, thank you so much to everybody who's been watching. I've been speaking there to the iconic Metaphysics and Tony Chihota, a piece of Ebony. And 30 years on, they're still making music. They're working on an EP, which is, they have a working title, Eclectic Pioneers. They're saying it's still the working title, but what they're promising us on that EP is something that we definitely need to keep our ears on. Until next time, remember earGROUND. This is the Hip Hop Show out.